friends, and welcome to a Henry's cooking tutorial. We're here in Bath in Henry's restaurant, and what we want to do is bring you guys down into our kitchen, show you a few tricks and make cooking at home a little bit easier. So today we are going to kick off with the beautiful and mysterious artichokes. Let's go. Okay, so the artichoke, what I want to say about the artichoke, you get three main varieties of artichoke. You've got these, which are the stem artichokes. You've got the globe artichokes, which are like their big brother. They're sort of massive, global type shapes. And then you've got the Jerusalem artichoke, which looks nothing like these at all. They're kind of small, hard, potatoey looking things, something else altogether. But you may have seen these at your local farmer's market. They're not too common in supermarkets, but if you get out to sort of an artisan market or something like that, and once in a while you might come across them and think, well, they look kind of interesting, but I have no idea what to do with them, how to prep them, what they go with. So we're gonna sort of demystify the mysterious artichoke so you guys can use it at home if and when you come across them. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing you should know about the artichoke is they oxidize. You may have heard of that term with like your bananas or other vegetables like potatoes, which basically it's a fancy word for saying they turn brown and look not particularly appetizing. So what we're going to actually eat of this artichoke isn't this outer casing, it's sort of the stem and this top part, this top quarter, maybe top half that you can't really see yet. But as soon as we get into it, that skin is going to oxidize literally in seconds. You can watch it turn before your eyes. So a way to get around that is we create a cooking liquor which is quite acidic with sort of lemon juice, white wine vinegar. We'll show you that in a sec. And what we want to do is keep that lovely white, yellowy color of the artichokes preserved with that acidic liquor. So we're going to show you that now. You get that on first, that's all ready to go. So when you're prepping your artichokes, you've got your liquor for them to go straight into and keep a beautiful yellow artichoke color. So let's do the liquor. So the first part of the liquor is the liquid part, and we've got three main elements to this. We've got water, we've got white wine vinegar, and we've got white wine. Don't use like smart white wine, use stuff that's gone past its sell-by date or the cheapest stuff you can find. It's just like a cooking liquor flavor, doesn't need to be your best stuff. So three main parts, the water, white wine vinegar, and the white wine. So they go into your pan, and you want to start bringing that up to a boil. Okay, so the next two elements in your liquor are salt and sugar. I've done a healthy tablespoon of each. We'll put the recipe below so you can follow along, but we got salt and we got sugar going into there. Okay, so we got our liquor coming up to the boil. It's got our salt and our sugar in, and now what we want to do is add a little bit of flavor to that liquor. So we're going to add a lemon, some thyme, some bay, some garlic, and some peppercorns, and that all goes in. All right, so we got our lemons, we got our nice aromats that we call them in there, so our thyme, our bay leaf, and I put the whole lemon in as well. So you juice it and you also put the pith, the rind in as well, adds great flavor. So we just wait for that to come to the boil, and then we get going on our artichokes. Okay, so our artichoke liquor is now nice and boiled. Take it off the heat and just leave that to the side. So that's ready to go. So like I said, this is kind of the outer case of the artichoke. It isn't what we're going to eat. What we want to eat is buried inside, so we need to get to it. First thing is we need to trim down that stem. We don't need all that stem. This gets quite stringy and not particularly appetizing. So we just want to trim it down, kind of a 1.5 inches, 2 inches trimmed off. Okay, so once that's off, then we want to like peel back, but like an orange, like a pith. We want to peel this back to its root. So what we do is literally just turn and pull these petals away from the artichoke. They come off quite easily, and you just pull them away, and as you can see how it's like starting to lighten up, and you're starting to see that inner root be exposed. But it takes a few times, and then we get back, and then the artichoke will change. It will kind of get softer. These outer leaves, they're very hard and stringy, and they're almost like its protector, its jacket. As we get closer to what we want, they're going to get softer and much lighter. So we get to about that stage, and we want to pause it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the artichoke, which means we're going to take a paring knife and we're going to cut down these sides and expose the root that we're after. So just take your time, and you just want to peel back cut away. And you're peeling that hard, like outer layer, outer skin off the artichoke. That's what you don't particularly want to eat. It's hard and it's stringy. We want to get to that tasty inner core. Just be careful with the knife here. You want to go slow and just peel away. You can use it, if you're not too confident with a paring knife, you can use a peeler, like a carrot peeler or something like that, and attack them that way. And that will just give you a bit more protection than a knife, but we find it quicker to use a paring knife. Okay, so we peeled back that outer layer. It's starting to oxidize, which is why we have our liquor. So a good tip to do is just give it a little wash and coat it in that cooking liquor, and that'll almost give it a slight layer of protection as you're working on it, so they don't oxidize too quickly. Okay, so that's one half of the artichoke taken care of. Now we need to look at the top half, and what we want to do is cut away this floury kind of stringy part. So what I find works best is a bread knife, and where it kind of bulges here, that's about where in the center line of that, it's about where you want to cut. So you just take your bread knife and you cut through. So it's very pretty, it's like a flower. It's kind of the most flowery vegetable we've got going. So you cut through and you start to see those inner layers, those inner petals that we're going to get out. But again, at this stage, like we did before, now that's all exposed, it's going to oxidize straight away. So you want to just give that a little touch, a little dunk all the time. Just keep it wet in your cooking liquor, and that'll keep that lovely, like golden yellow preserved. Okay, so we got our floury top off. That can be discarded. There's only one final stage. There's a little bit going on with these artichokes. There's one last stage, which is take out that inner core. So what I find works best is we get a spoon and use the back of a spoon, quite a thin, like bladed spoon, and then you just work, we'll get our bowl back, keep it clean. You just work the spoon around and you're pushing out. You just want to kind of dig out those inner petals. Work it around, hold it in one hand, and then work it through. Scrape it out. Okay, and that's what you're looking at. So you've taken the back of the spoon, it's a little bit messy, but it's good fun. And you've hollowed out that center, so all these light, kind of flowery, stringy bits of petal are not particularly appetizing, so you want those out best you can. Take it out, and again, immediately you see the color start to change. So that's why we got our liquor, and then we just give those a little dunk, and at this stage, they're good to go. So you can actually dunk them and keep them in the liquor. And that's looking good. All right, so we got our artichokes prepped. They're in our cooking liquor, and now what we want to do is we're going to cook them, but we need to keep them submerged under that liquor. So instead, we don't just put a lid over the top. Get a square piece of parchment, and we just lay that over the top of them, and press that against the water, against the liquor. And just the pressure of that will just keep the artichokes submerged, so when they cook, you haven't got sort of a raw top, you've got them completely submerged and they get cooked evenly, all the way through. Okay, so now we get that onto our heat, and we're going to cook them. Okay, so our artichokes have had about 10-15 minutes in that cooking liquor. Not a rapid boil, just sort of a gentle simmer. What you're looking for with them is, obviously you don't want them like mushy, falling apart, but at the same time, if they're too hard, they can be not particularly palatable. They can be a bit stringy. So you want just sort of like a little bit of like al dente resistance with them, but not too much. It's kind of it's a case of trying every now and again, just seeing how they're coming on. So what I recommend doing is getting a pair of tongs. This is going to be hot. And then we just take the artichokes out. And then with the tip of the knife, you want to just probe into the thickest part, which is kind of where the stem meets the base of the artichoke. And you just want to push into there. And you want a little bit of resistance like that. So it will just sort of hold. They're firm, they're cooked through. I mean, they're cooked, but they're not falling apart at the same time. If you push in and you hit sort of concrete, you get that hard tap, and they're still too raw. I want to give them a little bit longer. But artichokes, they come in all shapes and sizes, so I mean that was sort of 12-15 minutes. But if you get small ones, might take less, bigger ones take a bit longer. So it's a case of just checking them, keep checking them, having a feel, seeing how they're coming on. There's no set rule apart from keep an eye on them, keep checking them. So you got that nice little bit of resistance, a little bit al dente, and then they're ready to go. All right, so that wraps up the artichoke. They are a delicious, delicious vegetable, very versatile. They work with game, they work with red meats, they work brilliantly with fish, and of course in salads, you see them quite often. Char grilled on the barbecue, coming up to summertime, also amazing. So if you see them out, don't be scared of them. Take a few home, go through this video step by step, do your liquor, peel them all down, keep them nice and golden, work through them, and it's just a bit of a knack like any vegetable. You do a few of them, you'll feel very comfortable, you won't need to watch me anymore, and enjoy them. So that's demystifying, hopefully, the lovely artichoke. Cheers.